Given P of t is a point on the unit circle, so I want to find the following. So P of t plus pi, P of t minus pi, P of negative t, and P of negative t minus pi. So we'll start with the point 3/4, comma 4/5. This point is in the first quadrant, say somewhere around here. Let's look at the first one, P of t plus pi. So we're adding another pi degrees to our angle. So in other words, we're going to form a new line that is pi degrees counterclockwise. Not pi degrees, but just pi units, pi radians. So this is a straight line. So this will have the same x and y, except we have to make them negative since it's in the third quadrant. The next one we're going to subtract by pi. So we're going clockwise here. So this part is going to be pi, which is again another straight line. So we're going to end up at the same place. And so it's going to be negative 3/4, negative 4/5. Now we're looking at P of negative t. Well, this is P of t. So P of negative t is going to be exactly the opposite of it. So it's going to be down here. So this will be positive 3/4, but negative 4/5. And then finally, we'll look at P of negative t minus pi. So P of negative t is down here, and then negative pi, well, that's kind of like what we did in this problem right here. We're going pi units to the other side. So it's going to be a straight line, which is right here. Straight line is pi, which is 180 degrees. And so this will be negative 3/4, positive 4/5. And so now we have all four versions, so all four quadrants of 3/4 and 4/5. Let's look at the next example. Okay, the next one is negative 8 over 17 and 15 over 17. So this is in the second quadrant. So from the last problem, we know that P of t plus pi and P of t minus pi is the exact same thing. We're just going to end up getting a straight line. So the first thing you should do is always leave them the same, so without the sign, and then see, okay, because you're in the fourth quadrant, the y has to be negative. Next, we are looking at P of negative t. So think of this as the angle that gives us P of t. P of negative t is going to be the same exact angle, but in the opposite direction. So the only thing that changes is the y value, since we're going below the x-axis. Okay, so that's negative 8 over 17 and negative 15 over 17. And the last one is P of negative t minus pi. So for this, we're going to the first quadrant. So we're forming a line that is 180 degrees. We're ending up in the first quadrant. So in the first quadrant, it's all positive. So that is 8 over 17 and 15 over 17. And again, we have all the points in the 4 quadrants. Next example, we have negative 12, 13, and negative 5 over 13. And so this one, if we graph it, will be in the 3rd quadrant. Okay, so to find p of t minus pi, t plus pi, this one we're going to have to form a straight line. So this straight line will take us in the 1st quadrant, which will just be positive 12 over 13 and positive 5 over 13. So it's whether we add pi or subtract pi, we get the same answer. Okay, so the next one is p of negative t. I think the easiest way to think about this is, let's say we have this angle theta, then negative theta would put us over here. So then we'll have a new point up here. So we're in the 2nd quadrant. X is negative, y is positive. So it's negative 12 thirteenths and 5 thirteenths. And then last one, if we have p of negative t minus pi, we're going to form another straight line. And this is going to take us in the 4th quadrant, where x is positive and y is negative. Last example, we have 7 over 25, negative 24 over 25. So this one is in the 4th quadrant. Okay, so if we look at p of t plus pi, p of t minus pi, we're going to have to form a straight line. And now that would take us in the 2nd quadrant. The x is going to be negative, the y is going to be positive. So this was negative 7 25ths and 24 over 25. So p of negative t, well, let's see. For this one, we know that this angle, let's say, is theta. So p of negative t will have negative theta. So that's going to be up here. So that will be both positive x and positive y. And then finally, we have p of negative t minus pi. Well, that's going to require us to make a straight line again. And we'll be in the 3rd quadrant where both x and y are negative. So we have negative 7 over 25 and negative 24 over 25.